want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Peaceful salutation to you Israelites out there preaching this word in truth and sincerity, scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you sisters out there, to you ribs, so in silence and stay in order. Right, back at you with another lesson. This one is about epilepsy. And the reason why epilepsy is close to me is because I grew up in a household where my father, who I grew up with till I was a teenager, had really bad epileptic seizures. And he would have them multiple times a week. And, as a child, the sounds and the I want to say the damage done by falling, right? Because at times when you have epileptic seizure, you just fall straight back, or you just hit your head on corners of the tables, and you see a lot of things. And I saw my father fall many times for about 15 years, and not being able to help him, carry him, hold him, stop him, because he would urinate and bite his tongue off and everything, and seeing your father like this and over and over again, and being not able to help, you feel like helpless, and you don't understand why, right? But as I grew older and I matured, and then when I came to the understanding of the truth, I realized that the sickness, epilepsy, is one heavy demon and very difficult to get rid of. I couldn't explain to you the sounds that would come out from him. If I could compare it to anything, it would sound like a pig being tied up and stabbed in the throat a bunch of times. I've seen that happen because when I lived in the island of Puerto Rico, my family had pigs and stuff like that. So these pigs were really heavy. It'd take like 4 or 5 men to hold it down, then stab it, and then put the blood in a bucket so it's not going everywhere. But the sounds were horrific. Ultimately, the epilepsy took my father's life when I was about, I want to say 14. And ever since then, in a sense, I was trying to cope with that loss. My father was drifting away mentally from taking too many hits to the head. He wasn't himself a lot of the times. He suffered from memory loss, things of that nature. And nonetheless, I saw an example of this when I came into the truth of what epilepsy was and trying to understand it a little more. And I was comforted through the scriptures, right? As the scriptures say that knowledge and wisdom should be the stabilities of thy times. And I found that this helped with my closure of the situation. Although I was already okay with accepting what had happened, I am of old age now. It has been over 17 years, so I'm okay. But realizing this, it's a lot more comforting now that I can share this with you all, if you are all ever seen this or experienced this. Let's see. This is Matthew 17, and I'm going to start at 15. Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic. And I want to look at that word lunatic. Wait, what was I? 17.
Strong's G 4583, seleniadzamai. Seleniadzamai.
That means to be moonstruck or lunatic, to be epileptic. An epileptic being supposed to return and increase with the increase of the moon. This meaning is doubtful, as the Greeks knew nothing of epilepsy. All right. It says, and sore vex, for oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft into the water. See, my father will not fall into fire, but he would fall into corners of tables and bureaus, and sometimes he would be holding a knife. Yeah, man, I've seen a lot of scars on his face, his head. And he ultimately passed away while eating. He was eating by himself, and he had an epileptic seizure and choked and suffocated and was found later on. Right? It says, verse 16, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. Right? This is a real heavy demon. Verse 17, then Yahushua said, and answered and said, O faithless, perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer with you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Thence came his disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast him out? And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and they shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. That was heavy for me. To think that it would have been possible for me to do that at the time. But like I said, I'm okay with the outcome. But I share this in case any of you all have a family member in this situation. Right? I have found a study that correlates fasting with epilepsy. And it goes like this. In the new study, they showed in a mouse seizure model that mTOR signaling was reduced in the brain after fasting. Additional studies of cultured rat neurons in a dish suggest that this fasting effect is primarily driven by the lack of 3 amino acid, leucine, arginine, and glutamine. So, yes, it is possible to help, to fast, but prayer is the most important part of the equation. Fasting is a physical aspect to help cleanse this, the effects of having this demon, but prayer ultimately removes the demon. You see, you can't have one without the other. It is a prescription prescribed by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And with that, I'm going to say Shalom.